Every one of us lives in his or her own world. That's the world of your experience. We live on one earth, but there are billions of worlds, because everyone necessarily has a different experience. You can't share someone's experience. Not even the closest people, your spouse, your parents, your children. Everyone has a different world, lives in a different world. And that world is to a large extent ruled by the sense of I. Think about it. Maybe everything we do has something to do with us. Even when we think about abstract things, we're the ones who are thinking about it. So it reflects back to us. There's always the sense of I. And as we all know, the sense of I can be very restricting. When it is ruled by desire, wanting what we don't have in the moment, or rejection or hatred, aversion, which is not wanting what we do have in the moment. And these two forces create a third one, which is ignorance or confusion, which means not knowing what we really are, which is the great I, the true self that is not ruled by desire, aversion, and confusion. But most of our experience is ruled by these factors, and of course our job is to create, first of all, small spaces where we're not ruled by this I, this ego force, where we have a free space, a clear space. And then eventually to live in that space all the time. And there are many things we do throughout our sadhana in order to prepare for this eventuality to live in freedom from the ego. And they're all necessary and good. Now, I want to point out today a particular way that we can understand what is already happening all the time, even though most of the time we're not aware of it. And that is that as you're sitting here now, or you're watching this, you are aware of having this experience, hearing those words, having those thoughts, experiencing your environment. So there is the experience itself, and then there's your awareness of the experience. So now when we get into a place where we're becoming particularly embroiled in the experience, like fear or greed or hatred or anger or whatever it may be, sadness, we become involved in a way that is negative, that disturbs us. Now, we can really do it at any time, but usually when we're feeling just fine, we don't have that much motivation to do it. So when you're in a state like that, and the ego rules, you can ask the question, who is having this experience? Not, this is what's happening, and I'm feeling this, and he did that to me, and all the stuff that the ego serves up. Saying, who is having this experience? So ask yourself that right now. Who is having the experience you are having right now? Who or what is having this experience? And what you'll find is that there isn't really an answer to it, but the experience is had by your awareness, isn't it? Your awareness is having this experience of your world, the world of me. So when you raise that question, who is having this experience? Who is wanting to strangle this person, or who is afraid of so and so? It takes you out of that experience to some extent and shows you that there's something else going on, which is you're observing the drama of you. Right? So we have the world of me, and then we have this witness awareness. Now let's have a look at the world of me. What we can say here is that everything we experience as a beginning and an end, doesn't it? Everything passes. It's like clouds in the sky. They're just moving through. Life and death, everything passes in between. What about that witness awareness? Does that have a beginning and an end? No, it doesn't. So it's of a decidedly and crucially different quality. It's timeless. The awareness is there. So that awareness is there. And here's birth and death and birth and death and birth and death and all the times in between. The awareness is what's unchanging. So the awareness is the key, this witnessing is the key to getting free from being embroiled in the drama of me. It's a step into freedom. So again, be aware right now of being aware. Of my words, of what you're thinking about it, of your experience of your environment, of any sensations that may be there, etc. So there's all that, and then there's your awareness of it, isn't there? And then can you find the awareness that is aware of both of those? The world of me, the witnessing, and then there's an awareness that's aware of the whole thing. So when you become really still, that can become more clear. That awareness of both the witness and the world of me is the mind of God. That's the awareness of the self. And that awareness being free, completely free, it can embrace your entire world with its confusion and delusion, as well as its beauty and its clarity, as well as the witness itself, the timeless part of your existence, and love it all completely. Not having to interfere, but being present, being fully conscious, and profoundly loving, holding that entire experience of you and beyond you in its great universal heart. That too is you. And when we speak about love, ultimately we mean that awareness. And here awareness and love and just pure being cannot be separated. We separate them in order to be able to talk about it. But that is the oneness of your being, to be aware of the whole show passing. That is the awareness of the sky. And the clouds move through. Does it hurt the sky when the clouds move through? Oh, but there is this really dark one that has all kinds of thunder and lightning in it. The sky is the sky. And in the same way as the sky is not injured by the clouds. You cannot be injured by anything in your world, including birth and death. You are beyond harm. And you are this great, all-encompassing love. A love beyond any kind of emotionality that we usually associate with the world, with the word love. A love that is your true being. And as a way of working with it, we access that depth of being in the cave of the heart. But it is certainly not limited to that space at all. It's just a space where we can work with it and access it and expand our concept, our idea, and our experience of who we are. This cave of the heart, this love, this presence, this awareness is everywhere. It's the presence and the consciousness and the bliss of God. So when you're in a space where you're either suffering or curious to become more free, ask yourself, who is this? Who is having this complaint about life? Who is afraid of this or that? Whatever's going on, who is that? And it will take you first to that witnessing consciousness, this awareness. Oh, it's the awareness of whatever's going on. That is me. And so your sense of identity shifts out of this story of the drama of me that we've all become addicted to. And it becomes this free and clear space, increasingly this awareness of whatever's going on. And then whatever's going on is just what's going on. And it may be supportive, it may be challenging, it may be boring, maybe all kinds of things. You can label it, but it's your moment, and as that it is precious and it's free. And then going even deeper into the stillness of your being, you can find a place where you are watching even the watcher. Where you are loving it all as it is, this moment exactly like this. And in this moment, something may arise, some intention, not from your ego, but from a deeper place. And you feel moved to act, to speak, and to change things, to interact with life as it is. And it doesn't keep you at all from loving it as it is in this moment. Because your presence and your interaction is also part of it. But when you are aware of that innermost space in you, figure of speech, that presence in the cave of the heart, your divine presence, when you're aware of that, you bring that into any situation you're in. You don't have to do anything. You bring that presence. And that in itself is profoundly healing in a perhaps subtle but most powerful way. So that is the freedom we can gain through awareness. To increasingly refuse to become embroiled in whatever drama du jour is trying to catch our attention. We don't have to do it. We do it out of habit, we do it unthinkingly because we're habituated to it. It's sort of an addiction to that. The pain body plays into that. But when we know that we are completely equipped, as we are right now, to live a life free of suffering. Now that doesn't mean that a saint can't break his or her leg. Of course they can. And there may be physical sensation, but there won't be the kind of suffering that we do to ourselves through the mind. We will simply deal with what is, with an open heart and an open mind. And that ability is already always in us. It's not something that you have to train to get. You're aware of your world right this moment, aren't you? And that awareness is there. And yet, even though it's there and it's free and clear, we choose to get embroiled in the drama and suffer. That's our condition, and we're trying to wean ourselves from that. So again, when you suffer, ask the question, who is suffering? Not what is it about, who did it to me, how do I change it, how do I get out of it? Who is suffering? And it will make you aware that that witnessing consciousness is already there. Nothing has to change in the world of you. This is already here. And with being aware of that awareness, things change here immediately. Because being aware of the awareness of the witness, you can't be quite as embroiled in your suffering as you were a minute earlier. And then go deeper. And find that awareness that's aware of the whole thing. And find the peace of that. So I'm pointing to something, and that's all I can do. We have to all find this ourselves, but I'm pointing to the place where we're already free. Where we're already in the midst of whatever's going on, aware of it, and not subject to the force of time. And that's so simple, that we can't see what an enormous step it is. It's a step into freedom. And then watch the next moment, you're sucked back in. But there is the witness, all along. So the invitation is to just train in that. Train in bringing yourself back to that clear awareness.